Welcome back to the Secret Stash podcast. I'm Amber Williams, and with me today is my awesome co-host, Semone Palmer.
Hey, everyone.
We're with the Charlton Advantage team, and today we're filming live in Milton, Ontario. So today's topic of discussion is the importance of negotiation skills in your real estate transaction. Semone and I have been doing this for a while, and we've seen a lot of different types of negotiations and been through a lot of different types of negotiations, and negotiation is a huge part of the real estate transaction. So what we thought we'd do today is bring you some tips and tricks of different types of negotiations out there, what to look for, and how to identify that your agent is a skilled negotiator, which ultimately is going to mean that you're going to get more money in your pocket and a better outcome for you.
Yes, the bottom line is, guys, you want the most skilled person representing you when you're going through this process. So what we wanted to do is just educate you a little bit, give you some things that you can walk away with that you can examine to see if things are working out in your favor or not. And also to give you a little bit of tools that you could even suggest or mention if you're in the situation that you can use. So we want to give you bite-sized chunks that you can apply immediately. Sounds good?
Sounds good. So let's talk about negotiation styles. There's three. You've got your competitive, you've got your collaborative, and then you've got your compliant. And what do we like to call the compliant, Semone?
That's the wet noodle, and nobody wants a wet noodle representing them, right?
Nobody wants a wet noodle representing them. So let's talk about the competitive negotiation style. What kind of traits would a competitive negotiator display?
So the competitive negotiator, the one thing is they don't listen. The other thing is they're always repeating the same things over and over because you know what? They're not using all the tools in the toolbox to kind of elicit a different result. So what they do, they keep hammering the same thing over and over. And they use a little bit more intimidation techniques. Sometimes they want to escalate the situation. They'll, do things like walk away from the transaction and not giving an out to re-enter, right? They'll do things that are more intimidation, things that almost would be perceived as a little bit more aggressive and definitely working for a win-lose situation. So those are some of the things where if you see that they're doing those things, then that's a clear competitive approach.
A really good example of a competitive negotiator is children.
Yes.
Right? In fact, I had a little bit of a negotiation with my daughter this morning, and she was definitely using a lot of those competitive traits that you mentioned.
Yes. And the bottom line is the competitive approach sometimes can work out well, but it doesn't necessarily work out well in all situations.
That's
right? So what we want to do is focus on the other approach, which is the collaborative. Now, a collaborative negotiator is someone who's looking for the win-win. So what they're doing is they're asking lots of questions. They're listening very carefully. Sometimes they're even reaffirming or making sure that they're summarizing what's being said so there's clear communication taking place on all sides. Now, the collaborative negotiator, they're not looking at trying to get the most of the pie. They're trying to create a bigger pie and a better quality pie so that everybody's walking away with a reasonable outcome. Again, we're going to the win-win. The other thing is they're about showing respect. They're about, sharing the power. Because at the end of the day, guys, people do business with people they like and respect. Right? And so if you have a collaborative negotiator working on your side, you're going to recognize that even the other agent will respect them. Okay. The other thing is that they're going to use collaborative techniques. They're going to want to have a lot of dialogue. They want to, be clear on exactly what they're representing and what they're asking for. So there's no misunderstanding.
That's right. Absolutely. And a collaborative negotiator, it's not all about rainbows and unicorns and being nice. A collaborative negotiator uses their skill set and knows when to be firm and assertive, because sometimes you're not always going to be dealing with a collaborative style to a collaborative style. Sometimes those collaborative negotiators are going to encounter, which we have in our industry, the competitive style. So when you recognize those situations, it's about when to use specific tactics to diffuse the situation and bring the negotiation into a collaborative environment. So let's chat about an example of, or a tactic, or what someone might say if they're a competitive negotiator, Semone.
So, an example of a competitive negotiator would be someone who is repeating the same thing over and over, using those intimidation techniques, using anger, shouting on the phone, getting all emotional, threatening, using threatening words, saying, oh, we're going to walk away from the table, speaking in a way that is not respectful. And you know what? We get this all the time in our industry, sure unfortunately, yeah. Right? So really, the skilled negotiator is somewhat like a chameleon. They know how to adjust and, align themselves in such a way that they're keeping that communication and that they're able to bring the best outcome. So what are some of the really good skills of that expert negotiator that you want working on your side, Amber?
Absolutely. So a skilled negotiator, they're going to ask a lot of questions, okay? Mm-hmm. They're going to test for understanding and really make positive comments to foster cooperation. They're going to argue less. So they're going to diffuse those situations that get a little heated very quickly, and they're going to operate with high integrity.
Because as we said before, right, people do business with people they respect. And if you can build up the integrity in the situation, then you're going to find that there's a lot more trust. And when trust occurs, then a transaction and a negotiation and a deal occurs. And that's what you want. Yeah. The other thing we want to be really careful of is emotions in a negotiation. Point. The reality is, buying real estate, sometimes like we're looking at thousands of dollars, and many times you're looking at the biggest cost that you're going to spend in your entire life. So there's a lot of emotion that goes on in a real estate negotiation transaction. And what you want is someone who's going to manage their own emotions as well as manage the emotions of everybody else that's around the table. So you need someone that's cool, calm, and collected, that's applying the right amount of pressure, being assertive, but knowing when to pull back. Right, Amber?
Absolutely. 100%. So that's a little bit about negotiation, what to watch out for, how to protect yourself. We've been doing this a long time, and we have a team that has encountered a lot of different negotiation styles. So if you're looking for more information, or you'd like us to negotiate a great deal for you and keep you safe and protected in the process, you know where to find us.